Yes, I would. Okay, you have no set skills. And only after 2. Alright.
Let's begin with a basic.
Yeah, we get it. Make charging.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
Huh?
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was.
According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting.
Damn it.
That certainly would make for a powerful.
Or Chihiro.
Chihiro's. It appears it was.
According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt? I bet it was an iron pipe.
Got it.
No, it's wrong.
When I saw blowing
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow, it was covered in blood?
As far as I'm concerned, you...
If you don't mind, although I believe what Chihiro's
a new element has been added to.
The culprit is genocide. That, I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so speaking of, I don't know who that is.
The culprit is genocide.
Case closed.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so speaking of genocide, Jack, I don't know who that is.
The culprit is case closed.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Nah.
No, that's wrong. I guess it's... What?
That's the why of it is probably more importantly, according to the file, the first,
No.
but more important, is
Never made public?
why don't you tell?
I got it!
How it was positioned.
Apparently, in every other than the killer,
However,
If it was always suspended,
Chihiro
like-
is most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this?
Yeah,
It's because the culprit in this... No fucking...
You're saying genocide?
Yes.
What?
Genocide Jack's...
Toko has, like, blood of...
Is Toko Another riddle.
Hangman's Gambit. Oh, Skizzer.
now I understand.
Schizophrenic.
Is it because genocide?
Huh?
I think I read they thought that the suspect might...
Oh, okay.
Perfectly accept Toko's strange behavior after...
I got it!
Her behavior changed. shit.
You're talking about how she started
No, let's
acting
have someone
totally
homophobic.
That's right.
Let's have someone have homophobia.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my...
Not to mention, once she regained, in other words, within her as well.
So when Toko trapped her...
That makes sense. Because
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from...
personality of hers.
It was to keep her other personality from getting...
What?
Toko was afraid.
How? Yeah. How
I do believe what she's trying to say is no. What she wants to know.
Huh?
Last night, just before she told me, she said, and that trepidation.
This is all... Said you... What?
You have only... This is... Besides, you said that as long as you were here, but in spite of that...
You said if I... That's the...
How many times do I have? But you weren't able to do it. But your effort... Well, the opening act...
You...
Toko's body suddenly lunged backward. Huge fur echoed across the court room. For the next second, genocidal.
Wow, hello there! So you figured it out, huh? I'm the ultimate murderous...
What the fuck is Toko?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn... Like they say, sound and...
This one is so different from...
Yes, well, the world is just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or half behind every dark and gloomy...
Miss Jack,
What's up?
some of us think we might be...
Well, I'll tell you. Yes!
Of course it's not true. And another thing, the police, they just let this idiotic...
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living it. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you there's clearly a motive.
A motive?
Remember what If someone didn't murder and if a secret like that came... So she had a very
Interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate...
Huh?
But I cannot imagine. Maybe so.
Do you really expect...
Yeah. But I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
But I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, it's wrong. The methods of... I think there's a...
Uh-oh, you... Well then, human... I murder. I consider myself... Imagine you go to... But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using... This is no
Let me rephrase that. There are two clear differences between... I got it! For one, in the genocide Jack murder, according to the case file, but Chihiro died for...
Yes,
Guys, wouldn't it be strange for someone and there's more?
That's right! In my recipe, then the arrangement of...
Could you please stop them? Sorry. Are you...
I got it! Do you remember what the kill? They used some kind of...
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous... Specifically...
And guess what? I use my own... Like I said, I'm a professional! So naturally I'm... And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two different...
Big Mac?
Listen up, Big Mac!
Huh?
My word, you really didn't... There's a pattern... Figure that out, and it'll be...
I got it! Is it because...
Bingo! Bullseye right on...
In all the Genocide Jack case...
They were all...
That's right! The people... I can't believe I said...
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy, but now I'm on the fast track to become...
So, since Chihiro was a girl and not an adult...
When an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen, I have too much passion and conviction!
We get it. You've clearly explained. It's a different matter entirely.
Quiet!
Lowly, curt.
I would never kill, and if by... Why would I bother with the message and arrangement? That... Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you use the...
Any scissors? Don't just use...
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Da-da-da! She's fully... That's right! So I can... Why would I resort to dumbbells or... Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot.
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
But the body really was suspended.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Here's my answer! Byakuya, you'd have no problem gaining... Plus, you already look... Right, you?
Then, the reason he pushed the theory, because he wanted...
So, he rearranged the adorable glass.
Well, Byakuya,
I see. Then I must ask.
The way you were acting... You wanted to go to the girls' locker.
I should have naturally thought of the boys. The victim was Chihiro.
Nothing strange. On the contrary.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead.
Thought so.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity,
That's a natural...
The victim was Chihiro, who was so of course I would suggest there was no time. What's so strong?
You wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the...
That's unnatural!
The victim was Chihiro. So of course I would suggest we check the girls. There was no time. What's so strong?
You wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird...
If you're presented with the opportunity to...
That's unnatural!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a...
No, it's wrong! I'll tell you what's so strange, because up until we actually discovered the... So your claim that you went to the girls' locker...
I see. Interesting.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? What's the matter?
There is more. We just talked about the proof you're looking...
Oh?
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be...
Hey, Byakuya, I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong! Actually, because you see, that extension cord...
What?
Byakuya, you and the same extension cord went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension...
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord.
That's really what you think? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room. I intentionally... Is that a...
He's doing it again. He's totally calm, totally unconcerned.
What's wrong?
Hell yes, that's what happened.
I don't disagree with...
He kept calling this a game.
So I could. I know, there's something that's...
Is that right? I killed her in the girls'
I got it! You say you killed Chi, but are you sure about that?
What kind of question? She was found dead in the girls' How could the scene of the...
Well, I think it's along with the rest.
The rest? That was awfully specific.
I believe I...
Did I take you off guard? When the story suddenly moved to the crime scene, Byakuya, being so confident up till now, maybe Byakuya never even realized that the actual scene of the crime was
Hey! Don't just move on without permission!
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere...
I got it! The proof that your proof, the poster and a picture of a... Why would the girls lock...
I set those massive just...
Meanwhile, a poster again.
So you're saying...
And there's one other thing. You know what I'm talking...
You're referring to my throat? Well, I was in the girls' locker room, but I noticed that after the murder...
No, it's not that those things...
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed. In fact,
That's definitely...
Then, does that... Why?
to move the murder scene from one locker room to the... What? In other words, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved by doing this.
I can certainly follow.
Huh?
Why would they go through all that actually? And even big on how did Chihiro... To get into the locker rooms like Chihiro, she had no way.
No, she did have a...
I highly...
Shut up! I'm telling you!
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. If she had that, she could get into the boys' locker room no problem.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really...
I got... She must have hacked her e... She was the ultimate... I'm sure that would have been...
No, I don't... She used the thing that was in...
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, it's wrong!
No, I don't think...
Why not?
Because Leon's hand...
Oh. Well...
I am struck silent.
Plus, isn't there a...
Actually, the rule states that loaning, in other words, you could...
Yup.
Of course, if it were broken.
So then, she must...
You can't.
So, if she didn't use...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's...
It seems like there's no way she could have got it.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya!
I wish. Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room, and Byakuya is the one who did it? Really?
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though.
What the? There's no way she could get in the...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in?
What?
What are you talking about?
Well, why don't we take a little break?
Wait.
Don't worry.
Huh? Well, all right then. Now then.
Oh, I have...
So before I even knew what was happening, the class had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko and Lee, and where she took us was...
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place.
I'd like you to examine... Be sure to examine...
Examine her.
No, wait! It's probably... It's not that I'm creeped out or anything.
Very well.
But you're a girl.
No, it's okay. So just leave...
What is this? Some kind of secret...
That's not it at all.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chicky.
Be sure to check her entire...
Her entire... What? What is... Not possible. This...
Is what?
is a boy!
Ah, I see.
What? You're joking, bro.
I wouldn't joke about this.
Ben, it's really true.
Chihiro would... Chihiro Fuji's... He was a...
So that's what Kyo... Now let's ride this wave! Ahem. We've all just learned of the shock...
Yes, well...
I think that Chihiro was actually a guy. Before I've never...
And because the victim was male...
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender...
Of course his handbook said he was a...
So the victim was killed and the killer could...
So, Chihiro...
I still don't understand.
Well, I knew he felt a little... off.
This is the most...
So now everything has...
Okay, well, connected or clear or...
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned...
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one, but... I think he might not... What? But he just seems to be too... The way he's acting...
And you think that might be because...
Plus, the evidence he left... He consciously chose to use the extent, at least... And Byakuya, when you found out and then again when you found out if you really were the killer.
So that's your thinking, huh? It's fine. I guess I'll
Mark it as...
He's right. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girl.
Are you fucking with it?
No, I am not effing.
Well, I find it...
Go ahead. Find it very...
If you're really telling the truth, then... Why? Why do you do that?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Now then.
Well, I don't think
You're seriously gonna keep going?
No, I'm with Makoto, because if we're wrong...
That's true.
Damn straight.
Do you not have a...
Of course I do.
Anyway,
That's
Our lives...
excellent. Then shall we...
I got it!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but... Did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
No, that's wrong! I believe someone else did see...
Now that you mention it. Oh, but the rest of you had no idea.
Whatever! Just...
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw him stuff, and then I assumed.
A track jacket and a double...
It seems likely that the
And that is when he said. Chihiro told me, but why would he be in?
So, Mr. Fujisaki...
But Hina and I had invited him to it.
Probably because he was afraid...
Which means that conversely, enough so that.
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit.
Knowing what we know...
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know he would kill... Think back to the track jack. Focus on the details of these items.
Are you sure? You really think we can figure out?
What? You want to track...
Even if we had the equipment...
As was noted, the evidence...
Maybe, but we can't...
Easy for it, but fine. The bag was. All the bags in there are the same.
Well, if I remember right, do you think there might be some connection between the...
Perhaps.
Let's... First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he... First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No, that's wrong. Hold on a second, Mon.
Huh?
When Celeste testified a few... She never said anything, so why did you...
Where are you? You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact,
And before we began the trial...
the only one I told...
Then, Mondo.
Because I just... I'm sure he saw the clothes at some...
No, the bag and clothes.
Then the only reason he could have known what is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! Cherry? So, how about it?
Just by chance. He walked past me, and he was carrying...
No, that can't be it either. When Celeste noticed it, if you just ran into him briefly...
It would appear you...
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? Focus on the tracksuit and...
Ah, now I am your true intention. That's why you said you knew he did it.
That's right. Mondo was my target all along.
But why?
That's a good question.
Mondo...
I didn't Cuban. What gives you the right to trick? Yeah!
It's true. Well,
That's...
Oh yeah,
really? Actually, no.
Jeez, is your confidence...
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook.
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missed
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was total...
But it must hold some clue.
Well, that's what I was...
I imagine.
That's odd. I didn't...
You're right. They're totally what?
And yet, this one does appear for all your confidence.
How?
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook...
Sure. Maybe I let that...
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick...
Then we can only assume you know what the weakness is. I think it's a necessary...
But if I tell you, and someone else...
Just tell us already!
Oh well, then allow me to make a special announcement. When it's exposed to high temperatures, I flip it.
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found that the temperature in the sauna can reach over 200. It's because as your sweat evaporates, if the hot air of the sauna, that layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a... So when you're in a sauna...
Interesting.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found... Then the killer must have been purposely
Meaning the culprit.
But how'd they find out?
Indeed.
What if they found out...
What do you mean?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing they'd realize it was broken, and once they had...
I won't say it's not. I don't know of anyone who...
I might know some... Whoa! I think the one who may have taken... Here's my answer! Mondo.
What? What? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an... And for the contest, Mondo just so happened, but little did he realize. And when it was all over, Mondo...
No, wait, I don't accept this!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto says is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Yes. No.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Come on.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, that you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo, then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. He says is correct.
You broke your own. In other words, if Mondo, then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's— If what he says is you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's, then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
If what he says is you broke your own— In other words, if then that proves—
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No, that's wrong! Mondo, the handbook—
The fuck is that?
The broken handbook, isn't that one—
What the heck are you talking—
What I mean is—
But doesn't that violate the school—
Well, there is a rule about loaning your hand. It's kind of a gray area.
Son of a— What's wrong, bro? You are wrong! Everything you just—
Okay, then why don't— That way, everything will— The killer is you! Last night at the time, that something was a blue. With bag in hand, she made her way to. But how could the victim? Here's exactly what happened. With bag, she made it how simple, which is once in. Is I refuse to give up yet. Killer is you! First, last night, at the time, that something was a blue. With bag in hand, she made. But how could the. Simple, which is why. Once inside, here's exactly what happened. Once inside, it seems that and that it was likely, which is then removed. And finally, a girl's hand, but this alone doesn't. After all, side using one of those. And that's exactly with the carpet. They changed the layout of the boys. that Byakuya just... So, he went and grabbed the... He used... Then, he wanted to create the... And around the same time, the killer, having there, they planned it... And just as the killer expected, somehow, the killer and the reason they knew, and that's how... Isn't that right? What is it?
Oh. I thought it was multiple people. My bad.
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it!
Got it.
I think Mondo must have replaced, in which case, once we do that...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, still got me.
I got no choice, man. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with.
I'm gonna be skipping this bit. So